Hey everyone, Dennis from Gats and Freedom Outdoors. Alright, we got a bottom roast here that I cut in sections after I bought it. So when I buy meats and stuff, I will vacuum pack it, I'll season it, trim off some of the fat on it, and then I'll vacuum pack them. So today we're going to make my own Philly cheesesteak. So I'm going to use this, I'm going to cut it rather thin. Alright, let's get into it. Nice and thin. Alright, we got the meat all cut up. Show you. Nice and thin. So I'm going to put it all in a bowl. Season it a little bit more. I like to use some garlic, crushed parsley, Italian herb mixture. Now what I like to use, it adds a lot of flavor to anything you're cooking, is these grill mates. This is a Brazilian steakhouse, has a lot of flavor. I'm just going to marinate this for about an hour or so. Just make sure it covers all the meat. I'll put this in the refrigerator for about an hour. Let it marinate. I'm going to dice up 2 peppers and an onion. Oh, there you have it, everything diced up. It's fresh garlic, so I'll buy a bag of garlic cloves, put them in my chopper and a grinder, and then I'll freeze them, so that way they're nice and fresh when I'm ready to use it. So I have a nice big chunk of garlic here. So as the meat is marinating, I'll get this marinating and seasoned up, and then I'll get back cooking with you guys. We'll be on the stove getting everything going. See you in a few. All right, we're back. We're on the stove here. So I got my stove set to medium heat. Got my olive oil nice and hot. Get our peppers and onions in and fresh garlic. Just gonna break apart the onion, separate it all and mix it up. Make sure everything's got a nice coat of oil on it. I'll cook these peppers and onions to your liking. Now I'm going to cover it up here, steam it a little bit. I like to cook my onions just until they're brown, sometimes a little bit crispy. I do not like to overcook my peppers. I do not like soft, mushy peppers. Here we got our meat that's been marinating for over an hour. You know, stir up your peppers and onions every once in a while. We're going to add a little teriyaki sauce here to give it a little extra flavor. And then we're going to use my secret ingredient that I do use in a lot of my cooking. Gives a nice little kick to it, a little added flavor. So we'll stir this up and get our meat cooking here. Alright, so I took the peppers and onions, put them off to the side. We're going to get our meat going. I like to try and drain the steak meat a little bit. I don't want to put all that into the pan. I mean, it's going to simmer down and cook down, and you're going to get a lot of liquid in the pan itself. So what I will eventually do is I will drain all of that from the steak, put the steak back in the pan, just to get it a little bit crispy in some spots. Now when I cook steak, I like to leave it still with a little bit of pink so it doesn't overcook when we throw it in the oven and melt that cheese. Now you can take that, you know, make a nice dipping sauce with it if you like. I'm just trying to get some of the seasoning in there. So we'll cover this up. Let that cook down a little bit. Again, cook the meat to your liking. Now, this is more of a steak sandwich than it is a Philly cheesesteak. When I do the Philly cheesesteak, I'll do it on a flat top on the grill. And I'll mix the onions and peppers in and let it all cook together. So now I'm going to drain this out. Get all that liquid out of it. So I did use my secret ingredient with the steak as well. There we go. Alright, let's get to making our sandwiches. I like to put the peppers and onions on the bottom because I like the cheese to melt onto the steak. You know, add as much peppers and onions and steak as you like. So for here, we're going to use a few different cheeses. I like to sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on there. And then I use an Italian blend of mozzarella, provolone, Parmesan, and Romano cheeses. And then a heavy coating of mozzarella. Now I use the packages because I'm usually just cooking for myself. Maybe my son if he's not in college or working. Using the packages just makes life easier, simpler for myself. That way if I'm gonna have leftovers, I don't have to grind fresh cheese up. You know, I can use the packages, throw them back in the fridge, I ain't gotta worry about it. You know, just put as much cheese as you like personally. You know, I just like to sprinkle that on there. And a blend of Italian cheeses, you know, and then a nice heavy coating of mozzarella. I will tell you, my Italian grandmother would be rolling in her grave knowing that I'm using bagged cheeses. Just makes it a lot easier when you're cooking for yourself. Get this cheese on there. I got the oven preset at 400 degrees. Get this in the oven. I just leave it in the oven enough time to melt the cheese. I don't like burnt cheese. Try not to get the bread really crispy. You know, you can also use the broiler. It's quicker, but if you're not watching it, you're burning everything. There's one of my dogs, Brooklyn, waiting for any scraps that fall to the ground. Alright guys, so here's the finished product. Alright, if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you like everything outdoors. You know, we're talking from hunting, grilling, cooking, scenery, wildlife, firearms, shooting, reviews, reactions. Alright guys, we appreciate each and every one of yous. Thank you.